All right. Well, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I really do appreciate you all sharing this time with me. And I want to thank you for investing the time and effort for the 9 seasons of entertainment, enjoyment, and turning my Wednesday nights into my step away from everything else, my poker night, as it were. And for the record, this is officially Soup City Sins, Season 9, Episode 5, whatever you call it. When we last left our coterie, Dizzy was wrapping up her conversation with the doctors at Northwestern Hospital. Lucio was taking the long way, the lonely man path back to Faye and Stella, and Hestia was making a cross-town commute to reach the girls' condo, which is several leagues above what they could even hope to potentially afford. And while all of that is happening, an accounting has to be made, a understanding as to the state of things. In Chicago, one's word has as much value as one places in it. So even the bad guys tend to not lie, at least not lie directly. It's usually lies of omission, skipping over pertinent details and small facts that allow the audience to make whatever assumption they would like. You often hear, but did I say that though? Meaning that while it may have been insinuated, it may have been hinted at, it may have even been painted in, at least around the edges, leaving a little bit of negative space, outlining a particular point. But as long as it's not directly said or stated, you can avoid the responsibility and the blame for such things. And such is also the case with the kindred of the city. They will often address a thing indirectly. They'll often come sideways. They'll often avoid coming dead on or stating a thing directly, because so long as you never say it, as long as you never address it directly, no one can hold you at fault. And in that understanding, in that evasive standard operating procedures, common understanding that whether you say it or not, the truth is the truth. And while having placed them out of mind, and while having chosen to attack the matter as directly as possible, the members of the shelter have left lying one or more things along the way. Because as directly as they seek to accomplish a task, the forces aligned against them are always crawling around the edges. And as Lucio rounds the block, spotting the succubus, its lines already begun and in full effect, the merest idea of even being able to be seen in the line for the succubus is often a mark of status. That comes with its own problems, because there are many, both living and dead, who can't actively easily enter. That unfortunately is not the case for Genghis nor his associates. Genghis makes full use of the side entrance, having made friends with the security staff, having made himself all but a permanent fixture at the succubus, as its grounds are in fact considered Elysium. So the fact that someone who is so skilled at manipulating the letter of the law while flouting the spirit of it, seeing Genghis in line at the main door causes Lucio to pull up short. And it is as if it is an official visit of some sort. And he would not be visiting the downstairs maids. He would not be holding court with his circle of associates, his red mohawk shaved completely, revealing a scimitar tattoo on the left side of his head. His clothing not so much punk chic, but instead he's wearing a blazer, dark jeans, a shirt with a collar for once, and has enough jewelry that Lucio from half the block can see it twinkle, the light from the street lamps and neon signs adorning the succubus. While from the other end of the block, looking for parking, Hestia realizes that there is quite a lot in the offing. And so, we pick up with Dizzy leaving Northwestern. Where is it that you're heading?
I don't know. I don't think they actually gave a meeting place. I think they just got a text that said we should meet up and examine notes. So I don't know.
Was the text about being at Faye and Stella's only between Hess and Lucio, or is that in the whole group chat?
No, that's in the whole group chat. I was just checking. I was looking back to see myself. That was in the group chat. Dizzy responded, "What are you up to?" Basically, well, what the fuck are you up to? That didn't receive a response directly, but Hestia texted that Walter and heading back to Stella's. So with no clear destination in mind, Dizzy, of course, scans her phone while Vivi keeps watch over both Dale and her mother as Dr. Ashley sets about keeping a sidelong eye out for Tawny, as all the nurses have begun calling Dizzy's mom, and how she was introduced to the woman previously.
I guess at this point, since the last text that came through was we should all meet up, Dizzy will just send the simple reply of where, when.
As the text is fired off and pulls herself up short to send and potentially receive a reply fairly shortly, there is something about the tourism trade that attracts all of the smart criminals, or at least typically, in other cities and other places. And also here, but just not at night. At night are the hard workers, those who believe that quantity over quality counts just as much. So they ply their trade, they pick their pockets, they steal their phones, they occasionally even full on, rough someone up in one of the few alleys readily available. Even here on the Magnificent Mile, in the heart of the tourist trade in Chicago, amidst all of the high retail boutique shops where celebrities can often be spotted amongst the crowd, there are those who prey on others. As Dizzy absently scans the crowd and watches the people moving to and fro, scurrying like an upturned, angry anthill, she spots more than a few people who should not be in this area. It's a little troubling because they strike a chord with her most familiar. The last time Dizzy strayed out of the city on her own, there was a party of thin bloods who had thought to perhaps abscond, not just with her valuables, but with her, and her entirety. And while humans, mortals, breathing folks, are able to discern kindred not as easily as they should, their third eye is not quite open enough, kindred pick out each other, especially those who don't blush as easily as one would tell red from blue. And so watching these not quite kindred, not quite mortals move to and fro, having spent so much time with Aiden, she spots them. They haven't realized that she is standing, having freshly blushed.
I will very quietly and very subtly point them out to Vivi and say I had a run-in with them the other night in Dalton.
You think maybe you would like a little bit of revenge?
No, I mean, I did send my best gal pal down there to murder most of them, so we're probably even at that point.
But if they were kidnapping people in Dalton, do you think they are working the same situation here?
They'd have to be clinically stupid to be trying to nab us here. That doesn't mean that they are not nabbing you here.
There's a subtle shift in her stance. It goes from easily just standing to a balancing. She's standing firm on balls of her feet. It's a small shift. She's not leaning to one side. She's resting on one hip or another. But that preparation is telling. Lizzie, having been near and around those minded for combat, knows what that entails, knows what will probably be the next few chosen actions. And with Vivi looking north and south, left and right up the street, engaging distance and traffic timing,
I will, since the phone is in my hand, I will drop another text to Alexa that just says Dalton Gang and what'd you call it, the Miracle Mile there.
Mm-hmm.
So Dalton Gang and the Miracle Mile.
As you fire off that text loop, well, Heshia's text comes flying through, and you see what she jotted there as Vivi is sorely tempted to take a step towards action.
No, we're just going to get out of here. We'll let the people who are assigned to take care of it take care of it.
And as you all head west along Superior towards the Succubus Club, i.e. Faye and Stella's, we shift to Hestia, who's finally found a parking slot not too far from Faye and Stella's. It would be roughly a 2-block walk, but that's far closer than normal with the Succubus being in full action and activity. Overall, it's not that loud of a night. Thoughts of Walter, thoughts of the many self-recriminations that take place in one's head, knowing that, that is not completely burned to a crisp, but you wouldn't trust yourself going across it in the wagon as far as bridges go.
Yeah, there is a slight sense of guilt going on with them, and I feel a little bad that they made Walter that upset. But at the same time, it accomplished the goal of getting them away from Walter long enough to circle back and get help with the problem that Walter wanted help with in the first place, because they're not comfortable with trying to break into what Hestia is figuring is maybe one of Dizzy's family members' business. So they want to talk to Dizzy first before they do anything.
With those thoughts percolating as to what and how the subject will be broached, Hestia eases along the block where Succubus is, i.e. Faye and Stella's block. It has been known for the coterie. It's not hard to pick out the local celebrities, big wigs, small wigs, and those who have no wigs at all, standing in line in front of the Succubus. It takes a double take as Hestia realizes that one of those persons is, in fact, Genghis. Dressed nothing like Genghis normally dresses, but that most assured main man himself. And instead of sneaking around back or using a side entrance directly downstairs into the maze, he is standing in line.
She pauses and immediately starts debating. Stick to the plan or handle it.
Well, the question being, what is there to handle? Well, yes, he is an out-and-out anarch. There is still the fact that Succubus is. And part of the laws, part of the traditions, part of the very traditions of the place, of Elysium as a whole, is peace be unto you, safety in arrival and departure, safety within, and he is definitively on his way into an Elysium.
Remembering that, in fact, kind of solidifies the choice, and they just lucky bastard, and then heads into the building towards Faye and Stella's.
Lucio, having already spotted Genghis in line, takes a second, but you also see Hestia building. While they do have an elevator in the building, the fact that it's a 4-story wall does not detract from the sheer opulence of the condo.
So I see her from the street then?
Yes.
Is Lucio on the same side of the street as the Succubus or across the street from it?
Across the street from it.
Alright, in that case, he's going to choose to let the issue with Genghis go for now, and actually, no. You know what? That seems like a bad idea. Lucio is going to swing by to the other side and just say hi to an old friend.
So is he approaching Genghis directly? Is he attempting to blend in with the other crowd members? Is he trying to skip the crowd? How is he approaching Genghis?
He's approaching Genghis, walking up to him from the street. And basically he just says to him as soon as he is within speaking distance, "Well, this is a bit fancy for you. You got a hot date tonight or something?"
It is clear from the pause, deafening silence, that Genghis is a little caught off guard. And he pauses and frowns. "Hey, do I know you?" "Yeah, that's right. You're that, nobody that we shouldn't be talking to. You can't even afford to buy your way into the line."
I don't need to buy my way into the line. But I really don't care right now to deal with you, so go, have your fun, enjoy your night. I've got business elsewhere. Just thought I'd say hi to a good old friend.
He looks left and right and attempts to try to make less of a scene of him having been caught off guard and responding as per his natural inclination to make light of things. And there's a battle waging because he knows if he takes a step out of line, technically he'd lose his spot and have to start over. But he doesn't want to talk in front of anybody. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. You do the same. Which makes absolutely no sense, but in his own way, that's as tactful as he could be in this particular moment, being as he has nothing to offer, nothing to gain, and nothing technical, but there's still this sense of having egg on his face.
And that's exactly what Lucio was hoping to accomplish. Alright. He's going to leave for the apartment now.
As everyone makes their way into Faye and Stella's, messages and missives sent, there was a clear impetus to be here, but no one can explain what that is, except for potentially to reconnect with one another. So as you all are gathered in Faye and Stella's living room, with Faye having left the door unlocked, well, technically Hestia having left the door unlocked, what is the session meeting about?
Hey, what up? Sorry, I had some shit I had to do. Couldn't wait. So let's move a body.
Already taken care of, actually. And is everything okay with you? Anything we need to know about? Anything you want help with?
The world is my oyster.
I don't believe that, but okay. Yeah, but problem already solved. Arsenio was quite the go-getter. He handled Eddie's body, and it's no longer here. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. What we do...
Who do we owe for that?
You'd have to ask him. He didn't tell me specifics. but he made a phone call, so that's Arsenio magic things that Arsenio does. She just kind of shrugs at that. One thing I do need to talk to you about, though, is I'm sure you remember Walter, the Irish pirate guy.
No, not ringing a bell. I'm sure I would remember an Irish pirate guy.
Okay. Oh, that was the night you were at Loyola. Okay. So, there's a guy named Walter. He used to be a pirate, which I found out this evening, and...
The Dread Pirate Walter.
Basically, yeah. Sorry, distracted. Anyway, turns out somebody is blackmailing him, and he knew Eddie, and he was supposed to help us find Eddie's stash places in return for us helping him find out who's blackmailing him, because it's probably the same person. The thing is, tonight, when he took me to the building where he was trying to get into, there was a very familiar name on the building.
Was it Walter the Black, or...
No, the building that we were supposed to, quote-unquote, break into was an accounting building. And one of the names on the building...
Oh.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
I think so.
Dizzik was the name on the building.
I happen to know an accountant whose name is Dizzik.
Kind of figured you might. And apparently Walter took his paperwork to them to make him legitimate somehow, and cook his books for him. And in the process of doing so, somebody found out, and now they have been blackmailing Walter with his books, and it's probably the same reason that now the building is covered in cameras, which is why I didn't go through with attempting to break in and help Walter get his books back, and instead made fun of him to piss him off and separate us.
How timely is this? Like, is this something that has to happen tonight, or can it wait a couple days, or...
I'm thinking Walter's going to be mad at me for a couple nights, actually, so it might not have to happen right away. But if we're supposed to be finding the stuff that Eddie places, then probably sooner than later. But Walter's part of it, I don't know how important that is or not. It was just a avenue to help with the Eddie thing because he knows Eddie, or knew Eddie. And Melinda led us to Walter when she did the spell that night.
Okay, well, I guarantee you that I can't do anything about it tonight. Maybe tomorrow, a couple days would probably be better.
Sounds good to me. But like I just said, I just thought you'd want to know because it's your whoever's building that Walter is trying to get into, and somebody is blackmailing Walter based on the information they got from whoever's paperwork.
That's an interesting little tip of a web there.
Yeah. So there's that.
But I can help Walter, but just not tonight. But so then Walter can help us. How much assurance does he need? Is my word good enough, or...
I'm pretty sure he'd take anything because he was trying to get me to break into the building and I didn't want to do that. So if we could just waltz in and get his paperwork back, I'm sure he'd be pretty okay with that. Well, however long that takes. So
I am about 97% sure that I can get him his paperwork back.
Then we will put a pin in that, and he doesn't have to know right away. We can always hold that over his head later. So that's not a tonight matter at all. Tonight I'm having a bad feeling because Faye said Stella went to go get a friend. Faye said Melinda, went to go get a friend to help her with a spell and would bring them back here. The problem with that is Melinda, being new, only knows Chantry people. And I don't really trust really any of the people at the Chantry to come here and be around Lucio's sister and friend.
Welcome to the majority.
Yeah, so that's why I felt like
I don't think anyone anywhere trusts Chantry people.
I'm starting to learn that. But, yeah. So, due to that, I felt like I had to come back here just in case it was somebody that I don't particularly like and we can't particularly trust that Melinda is bringing back here to head off any bullshit.
You know, come to think of it, the one time I was at the Chantry people didn't trust the Chantry people.
We're never going to live that down, are we?
That was the thing. I've been to some ragers, but man, that put all the frat houses to shame.
But yeah, that's pretty much my news for the night so far. Looking at Lucio, what you got?
Well, I went to meet Novak tonight. And basically they handed me an assignment that sounds like... Well, it sounds pretty much like the feds have found out about the blood trade, basically. And someone's trying to cover it up.
Who's Novak?
My boss. In life.
Oh, like a kind then. Not like the sheriff.
Yes.
I didn't know. Maybe it was Damien Novak. I don't know.
Nope. Don't know Damien's last name.
So it could be Novak. But anyway. That's good that someone's trying to cover it up. Do they realize someone's trying to cover it up?
Oh, yes. Novak doesn't care, though. Novak's a greedy bastard, and he's gonna take the hush money. But I, on the other hand, want to know who wants this silenced, and why. And also, who's leaving all these fucking bodies around?
I think we all want it silenced because masquerade. But, yeah, who got sloppy?
Part of me thinks that it might be related to this third party blood trade.
Wait, wasn't Grecio, he wanted to disrupt the blood trade or some shit? Isn't that what we were talking about before?
Oh, a lot of people want to disrupt it. Laura Blakeney wanted to disrupt it. Grecio wanted to. Oh my god, I've started calling him Grecio.
I like that, actually.
See what you do to me?
I have a strange effect on people.
as I was saying, a lot of people want to disrupt it because of the monopoly. And it seems that right now there's one covert group that I have been accidentally on the trail of for some time. And it might be that they're coming back up again. And I'm almost positive that they're involved with Eddie and those Thin Bloods that you said you were attacked by.
I saw them earlier, like right before I came here. I saw them. They're in Chicago for some reason. I let Alexa know, so they're probably not going to be in Chicago for very long.
Where are they?
They were over by up on the Miracle Mile.
Out of character, how far is that from the apartment?
Just under a mile.
Well, after this, would anyone like to go and do an interrogation?
And as you say, who would like to go do an interrogation just after this? Sylvia chimes in, I would always love to help find the truth. Her and Melinda are standing in the doorway, Sylvia holding a large a large medical style bag. Melinda, you did not tell me that you had such acquaintances as our current hound, the Coterie de Celebre, the shelter.
What are you doing here?
Wait, who's this speaking?
Sylvia.
Huh?
I am here with Melinda.
She was. Yes. I am surprised to see them. Hello. How did you find me?
Why would you be surprised to see us? This is an important place for us.
Oh, I just didn't know you would find me here.
This is where I last saw
Melinda,
you.
explain.
Explain?
Explain what you mean. Why would you be surprised? In
If
fact,
I may.
why do you know of this place in particular?
If I may, she actually asked for my assistance in ridding the place of a specter. And that's what we're here to do. She believed that it would be most efficient and helpful for those who reside here. And with that, Sylvia looks past Lucio towards Faye, who is completely and totally zootedly sleeping by the window in the chair she was in when Hestia left. I see. So, I take it that you all are here to assist, providing your energies and your strength so that we can make sure that this place is safe for those who reside here?
Oh yeah, sure, let's all join hands and sing Kumbaya, shall we?
That wouldn't work with any particular specter. For a small possession or an inhabiting, good spirits such as that may help. Unfortunately, based on what Melinda has informed me, you all will require significantly more. Melinda, would you be so kind as to lead the way to where you found the specter? Their initial aberration here?
Yes. And I lead them into that bathroom. And I say, I saw it sitting on the side of the tub.
Oh, I see. And she pauses and takes a step back out of the bathroom and then steps back inside. Oh, yes. And let me guess, Miss Green, you're responsible for this destruction?
I will take this moment to exchange a glance with Lucio, a questioning one, like, is this cool?
Lucio shakes his head. And he's also going to speak up. Begging your pardon, but, what exactly are you talking about? I was not informed of any specter or haunting in this place.
Well, when I came across that you were in the wind, I did not know where you were, and I was here with your sister and her roommate.
Remind me, when were you with them? Because I do not recall you being here the night of that nonsense happening.
You were gone.
Party.
You went around.
She came with us to help do the thing that's already done.
Okay. 1 second. Lucio's going to activate Oblivion Sight and see if there is actually a ghost here.
You really shouldn't have done that, but go ahead and roll your wit plus awareness.
Oh no.
How much of the residual effects would Lucio see?
Am I adding Oblivion to this or no?
Yes.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 13, because I have a bonus dot. I apparently did not type this in the right spot.
No, you did not. But even if you would like, you can take it. Oh, well, never mind.
Yay! I've never rolled that high before.
Alright, so everyone with Auspex, Presence, Dominate, or Obfuscate. You all would need to roll your willpower to resist.
Do I have to? Because I
No,
have all those.
you're the anchors pulling everyone down into this morass of darkness.
What were the triggers?
Obfuscate, Dominate, Presence, or Auspex. All of the abilities that affect other people's minds and have the ability to see beyond, basically.
And it was a willpower roll, or?
Yep. You're not really rolling to beat, you're rolling to minimize the effect of how much you're pulled along with, unfortunately. Lucio, in his current emotional protective state, pierced the veil so thoroughly that the smoke from his eyes, the oblivion shadow that normally swirled just within his eyes, spills out over the space. And the moment that it connects with the residual energies of what took place here in this bathroom, it drags everyone else's consciousness into darkness that he sees the world in, assuming that sight. The veil is not just pierced, it is torn and shredded, torn to sunders. There's bits of it sticking to you like confetti after a parade. You all, for the moment, those of you who Dizzy and Hess, Linda, your roll? Your chance?
When I rolling again, willpower?
Yes.
And willpower is...
It's your tracker. It should be on the bottom right of your sheet. If you had not spent any willpower, the easiest way to figure it is your resolve plus your composure, is your total of your willpower.
Resolve plus composure?
Yeah. All right. So instinctually, everyone begins attempting to shield themselves from the that is just on top of ours, where the world turns slightly sideways, all the color fades out of it. You are seeing clearly into the Shadowlands, that space in the near umbra between the deeper, darker. It's a mess, to say the least. When Lucio's oblivion that he taps into, when he taps into that shadow of the real world, he's able to see the mystical emanations of that world lays on top of ours. Shielding yourselves as best and instinctually as possible prevents you from being completely and totally lost in that world, but only just so. For a bright, explosive moment, are able to see what took place in this bathroom and why the specter was the tip of the spear. You see Arsenio standing outside the door. The shadow version of Arsenio is not a great sight. Arsenio's soul had already been twisted by his life of crime and his time doing evil for pay. Seeing it as it is now is antithetical to the good-natured, smiling, brave, and often reliable gentleman that you all know. There is a withered husk of himself with bright, kind eyes and a smile that causes you all to need sunglasses when staring at it. And he's standing in the doorway and he's speaking to these gentlemen who look like walking skeletons, except for the skeletons are clothed in the mummified skin and remnants of their former lives. They're led by a woman who stands no taller than maybe 4 feet, even at best, in the 2-inch heels she's wearing. And she's the only soul that you all see that has any girth about her. And not just girth, but where she treads in the Shadowlands, the ground beneath her feet cracks and splits, and souls scream. They exchange a few words that you can't hear, and Arsenio disappears from the doorway back to whence he came, while the three of them begin getting to work. Eddie's body is covered in a thick pudding-like vitae. Words are said, and as each word is said, the world shakes and trembles as more and more Eddie's remains becomes a powder and near gaseous state, where his body laid as a whole, burned into the very crust of the world, and things are beginning to fall out and into the restroom. Those things take the form of drugs, sex, and wild wantonness and violence. And these ideals take on physical form. They begin leaving the restroom one after the other. And even as you all stand here now, they move past you. And where they move past you, your skin begins to instantaneously frostbite and splinter and crack, and bits of your own soul stuff begins to leak out. And just when you think that the horror is over, that the time has passed, and you've caught up to where you are now, there's another that crawls from it. That hole. And this one is larger than the rest. Its shadow stuff pale, glistening. And it moves forward, not past you all, but towards you all. And is reaching forward towards Lucio. Its aim and intent clear. It intends to inhabit him. It intends to move into him as one would a perfectly priced studio apartment.
Do I have time to react?
What are you attempting to do?
You know she never goes anywhere without her spelled blade.
She doesn't. Her spell blade's in the real world.
But she was able to use it before when they were attacked outside the spirit version of the hospital.
Outside the spirit version, not in it. Lucio literally opened up a chair while are existing in this moment as your soul cells inside the Shadowlands. You're not physically inhabiting this space. Your souls are, the remnants of them exist in your undead, unbeating hearts. Is what's standing here. You are the summation of your disciplines, your experiences, of your impulses.
So then technically I wouldn't even need the physical blade. She would just need the blood sorcery that she can call upon and shape it into a blade to use.
What are you attempting to do?
Keep him from inhabiting Lucio's body.
How?
Attack.
Wits plus blood sorcery. Or unless, of course, you're attacking with your strength. Intelligence plus blood sorcery. As the shape crawls forward and stands towering up and moving towards Lucio, sees egress and entrance, Hestia moves into its path, slashing and hacking and spewing manner of less than physical, but no less effective. Her hands blurring, body, the bridge that this thing now needs to cross to enter into its anchor, to enter into the caster of this moment. And he wants to. As Hestia blurs into motion, fighting with a savagery most would be possible in her small form. The thing screams, and it is the first dead thing that you've all managed to hear. The conversations had between Arsenio and the creators of this moment in the past were silent. You understood their words, and the words were happening, and as they spoke, there were effects in the Shadowlands around you all. There was no actual volume. This is the first volume, and it is screaming in 6 voices at one time. It is crying out in pain with 6 voices at one time, and those voices coalesce and minds, and it sounds as if it is a crying. The 6 voices falling away and unifying until there's just one child's voice, one babe crying as the doctor spanks it. Each blow that Hestia lands is an exaltation of fear and all that life normally has to hold, but instead is coming from this grotesque facsimile of a being. There's approximately 2 upper limbs and approximately 2 limbs, but as it crawls forth and attempts to dodge or block Hestia's attack, its ghostly remnants of other limbs, other appendages. And then you're back in the restroom. You all that managed to blush are heavy. Those that did not blush and are still as dead as they once were are covered in a sheen of Vitae-soaked sweat. And you all are aware that what happened here was not just the destruction of a kindred body, but you all witnessed in the ritual that was completed the exsanguination of that small spark of a kindred soul, that small damning of a thing from continued existence, and immortality ripped from this world and left lying. And for those of you with experience in blood sorcery, the Tremere, know that what was done here was a necromantic ritual that has been all but forbidden. It is one of the darker aspects of necromancy, the shunting of a thing completely from this world into the next, a sundering of both body, mind, and spirit, and it leaves a scar, it leaves a tear, and through that tear, many foul things of the other worlds can grow. And it's 21 after the hour. We'll take a 10. We'll see you back here at 31 after. It's a little early. Anybody back?
Yep, I'm here.
I am present.
Excellent. Okay, well, we will saunter forward into time and present. Thank you for making it back. As everyone eases back into themselves, as everyone comes back from the touch of death, true, actual death, not the facsimile that is their current existence. Having witnessed what you did, some of you having made the mental connections between people or the sorts of people that Arsenio had access to. Where does that place you all, knowing what took place in this restroom?
Arsenio did mention that they're not related to the family, but they're almost certainly another branch of the Hecata.
Most assuredly. It's like tasting a recipe that you learned from grandmother, grandfather, or your mother, and then tasting it out at a restaurant, knowing that your family is, for instance, from Northern Sudan or Northern Italy or Southern Ireland, somewhere near Kilkenny County or whatever. have you. There's certain dishes that are region specific. There's certain things that get passed along time after time. And for Lucio, it's tasting his family's recipe as done by someone else. Same spices, the same slow simmer routine. And yet, as far as he's aware, they're not family.
Dude, what the shit just happened?
We saw death.
I don't like it. Don't do that again.
I told you I saw something here. And I want to go take care of it.
Yes, Sylvia says, finally chiming up, unzipping her bag and crouching to begin setting vial after vial on the... Normally, handling or dealing with a specter is something I can do most assuredly. However, knowing, as she looks at Lucio, that beings such as yourself are playing with powers they shouldn't, and left a hole from this world into the next, if you all would be so kind. And she stops herself. I know there's some natural enmity. Miss Green, if you would be so kind as to collect a small bit of vitae from your associates so that we can perform a warding circle so that we can begin excommunicating those beings from this place.
And what makes you think that having my blood, because I'm assuming that's the associate you're talking about, is going to help with this?
Do you know the difference between gasoline and rocket fuel?
Enlighten me.
Quite simply, they're both the ground up remains of dinosaurs. The one can get you to the moon, the other can get you to the store. And what we are preparing is to go to the moon. This is not some small matter that can be handled by popping out to the Piggly Wiggly. There's power in your blood that even you do not quite grasp. Luckily, I do. So if you would be so kind.
Why in God's name would I trust you?
You shouldn't. I wouldn't. But this is mutually beneficial. I, unlike others of my ilk, do hold members of the Chantry in high regard. More so than I do even your very potent blood. And as a favor, as a boon to one of my sisters in arms, one of my true sisters, I'll complete this task. But being his trust must be earned, and I don't care to earn yours because I know you cannot earn mine. I task the responsibility maintaining the sanctity of your very powerful day in the hands of someone that you should trust. After all, she did nearly die to better herself, to protect you all.
I would be much more willing to have Hestia handle my blood.
Of course, I completely understand. After all, it's not as if she would be able to manage anything else with it to begin with. And she cares for you and you care for her. It makes perfect sense. Miss Cross, would you begin grinding up? And she hands you bits of bone fragment and a mortar and pestle. We will need a significant spark for this. I'm not sure if you, Miss Green, have been instructed to, as soon as you are able to, obtain phylacteries of saints and various wholesome entities. Bones, if you can't obtain any flesh, blood. But either way, that essence of their goodness is something that we can use.
Hestia, through all the little stones and barbs and snide comments that Sylvia has been taking little pot shots at her this whole time, just kind of smirks and stares at her. Are you quite done casting dispersions and what do they call it in these young days? Capping, having Twitter fingers, those things. Are you quite done? Because if you really want to get into who does who and who's doing what, I'll tell Melinda all about the lovely little group of Duskborn that you were teaching our blood magic secrets to. And the fact that you kidnapped one of my coterie members and did that exact same spell that we just saw to pin him under the theater. Like I didn't see that body. And now I can't get him back because of you. So don't think I forgot.
That very real lack of grammar is my fear for the present generation. And no, it was not exactly the same spell. And no, I did not kidnap him. And no, I did not enact the ritual. I did
teach them what they should not know.
I did. And who are you to guard what they should not know? Who are you to avenge and stand for those who can't defend or stand for themselves? A little knowledge goes a long way.
Whole thing about you and I am part of the Chantry and I would never turn my back on the Chantry when you did exactly that, because one of our rules is not to teach those not of the blood our magic.
And who's to say which blood they are from? They are cast off, they are forgotten, they are accidents. All
still broke the rules.
Every last one of them are survivors of the predations of our kind. We
Melinda,
created.
Be careful who you make friends with.
Friends, no. Associates, yes. I don't have any friends.
Good. Nobody's gonna miss you when you go missing.
Oh, I beg to differ. Otherwise, your dear friend you just mentioned being kidnapped would not be.
No. Keep in mind
please.
there aren't any more Bloodborne or Dustborn really in this area anymore. I heard they were all going to Dalton and leaving. I wonder why that is.
Because some foul, angry kindred slaughtered their brethren as if they were kindling and firewood. The blood, please, each of you. We will need as much strength as possible. And while Mr. Darcy has by far the most potent in this particular regard, Miss Cross, I do need that as quickly as possible.
Melinda has been grounding this entire time.
Okay.
Dizzy has just finished doing all the math from everything that Motormouth's just ran. Is someone stopping her?
Stopping whom? Sylvia?
No, Dizzy.
What is she preparing to do?
Well, she just figured out that this is the woman who's responsible for Whispers and Aiden.
Yes, she is.
That was an oops. And Estia just now thinks of it and slowly looks towards Dizzy.
Her eyes are rather narrow and dark.
Leaning towards Lucio, we might have to grab her because she just figured some things out.
Do we really want to stop her?
Do you want a fight to break out in your sister's apartment? Because furniture will get moved, you know that.
Out of character,
Mm-hmm.
do I know who is present in the apartment? I know that Faye is still here. She's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Is Stella here?
You didn't explore the apartment, however, Melinda would know whether Stella was here. She did get the tour.
Your sister is here.
Lucio's gonna put a hand on Dizzy's shoulder and just say, "Not yet. Give it a few minutes."
I did make her a frenzy check there too, by the way. So
Fate does not want Dizzy to explore what it means to be a full-fledged Bruja instead of a...
she's exceptionally good at keeping her cool for any vampire, let alone a Bruja.
So, with Lucio's hand resting on it, that admonishment being passed between them. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll for Charisma and Subterfuge for me?
It's gonna be painful.
Maybe not.
It is painful.
Oh.
Willpower. I have willpower. I'm gonna use it. I don't even know what this is for, really, but I'm gonna use it. Oh no.
All right. Well, to share a little of mechanics, what that was your volume and your ability to remain unheard others far outside of your conversational range, exchanging that conversation. Dizzy. Hestia, Melinda, having heard that from Lucio and watched as Sylvia stiffened but continued working.
Do I see her stiffen?
Oh yeah.
Then I blink behind her and put that gun to her head and go click.
All right. So that
Melinda is like, and please act like adults here. You're here to banish a spirit in your sister's home. That is why we are. That is the purpose of us all being in this room. So, please. compose yourselves. And then some colorful language in Czech.
Cassia sighs and fine. Once this is done, though, oh, numbers. Your days are so numbered. I can't wait. Meanwhile, she starts with herself and puts a little bit of her blood into the vessel, and then goes to Lucio and gives him an expectant look.
Before I do, I just want to clarify. Is Dizzy following through on this?
She was in motion before anybody got to speak, so yep.
Okay, so we're all just reacting. Okay, the way I'm imagining this is that we're all carrying on the conversation without even realizing that Dizzy has done this, because she's just so fast.
It's 4 with a willpower.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. That we were talking and we don't realize that she's moved, and then kind of glance over at her with the gun to Sylvia's head, and it's kind of a uh-oh.
Well, I think there's a loud bang in there somewhere in someone's speech. Towards the beginning of it, even.
So in that case, I think it would be everybody kind of jumps and looks toward Dizzy. Oh. Ooh. Yikes.
Storyteller, I don't know if you're talking right now, but I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so as Melinda was attempting to verbally intercept Dizzy, both Lucio and Hestia discounted any other action except, well, let's collect the blood. Not that it matters at this point, because the only person that could have assisted in sealing the hole between worlds that is now in Lucio's sister's apartment, spewing things equal to and just beneath Orsipulus in his most blatant spiritual form, now lies a smoldering mask that begins powdering, dusting all of her years of age, catching up to her. The gun, all expected to sound like an explosion heard outside in the air. Doesn't. There's a clap, a deafening clap, but it doesn't sound as loud. It sounds as fiery. That is until the remnants of Sylvia powder away before your eyes, along with any hopes of sealing the hole between this world and the next. You You all witness as other spirits, other entities, other Jaglings and Karna and Banes had already escaped previously and had been escaping the entire time since this body was destroyed, since Eddie's body and soul were sundered in this world. Before the possessed manifestation of him in shadow appeared to Linda. And as the smoke settles and the echoes stop reverberating off the wall, you all hear the running feet of Faye, like, what the fuck? As the floor is splattered in drying, sticky, tacky, nearly black vitae that existed inside. So a troubling thought occurs. Lucio first, and like the worst sort of electric current, it moves between each of you all in that time elapsed moment of seeing that whole erupt, saw other spirits, other beings, other never had been things from the Shadowland crawl forth, meaning they had opportunity to settle in. Hestia thinks back to that first night when Forcipulus was birthed into this world, needing flesh, needing sensation. And then the soul-shattering realization dawns, crying of that last being that Hestia attempted to fight off. Birthing cries and the tears. You all look toward Faye, smoked out as you have all never seen. You all knew that she smoked, that she indulged, but never to the point of losing all touch of reality. You all realize that Stella is in the apartment as well. One of the things you all felt crawl from that hole was a spirit of excess, of gluttony, of sex even. And Hestia thinks back to the interlude they shared with Arsenio, had been in the apartment as well. And that takes care of sex and excess. But what manner being could have escaped into Stella?
Say hi to Aiden for me, you smug bitch.
Vengeance is sweet. Comes at a cost. In the moment, in his execution, there is a balancing of the mental scales for Dizzy. That being, that woman, took Whispers, took Aiden, nearly took Hestia. She is literally the embodiment of the very vacuous, greedy, and vengeful spirit that is in the hearts of nearly every kindred. She has repaid directly and indirectly in her vengeance forth time and time again. And it is not a far leap for Dizzy to know that through Sylvia's machinations and her justifications, that the reason why she nearly lost her life in Dalton to those thin bloods, the reason why Eddie was able to embed himself deeply enough to have information that could bring the masquerade down for several individuals throughout the city, is because of her. A little knowledge being very, very dangerous.
And then having done her thing and said her piece, she kind of realizes where she is and looks up at the others.
What the fuck are you guys doing? Says Faye. Now, amongst you all trying to peer into the bathroom, what the hell did you break? What did you cause? Did you shoot off fireworks in my fucking apartment?
Yes. That's exactly what happened, unfortunately. We were trying to... It was going to be a surprise, and then someone decided to try and light a smoke too close to the fuse.
My bad.
Melinda walks up to Faye and...
As Melinda closes, Faye takes a step back. She's still trying to peer past her. It's literally watching two things happen at once in the same body. Two people making a decision in the same body. Faye is attempting to see how much damage you all did to her apartment. And something else in her is making her take a step back. She hasn't even made eye contact with Melinda, but it's moving away from her.
Hey, you don't have to walk away from me.
What are you talking about? Just get out of the way so I can see how bad you guys fucked the bathroom. Oh my god, Lucio, really? Fireworks in the... And it takes another step back.
Linda takes a step forward.
And it moves back again. And Faye's left hand, which had been holding a smoking joint even as she slept, falls into a fist around papered herb, closing tightly.
Don't waste.
What? Why are you? And it takes us one half step back, planting right foot. And Faye is attempting to still peer past you, not realizing that she is completely out of line of sight of what she's attempting to see.
Hey, it's good. We'll clean it up. I'm sorry. We thought it'd be funny. It's not funny. I apologize.
Oh no, it's not funny at all. Oh my god, no charge for that. Why can't, would you all move out of the way? And then the right hand comes out in a near defensive position between the body and Linda. Left hand begins to cock back.
Esty is watching all of this very closely because they already have kind of figured out what's going on, and lean between Dizzy and Lucio and lower their voice enough for just them two to hear. That's not Faye. Something that got out of that hole got into Faye. We're gonna have to figure out how to get it out, which is what Melinda is trying to do right now. But did you notice how it's acting?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's afraid of her.
Yeah.
And the left
As it
fish
should be.
lashes out. And the left fish lashes out, moving a little too fast, too high, aimed directly squarely at the space between Melinda's chin and her collarbone.
When Lucio sees the fight starting to break out, he's gonna try and rush over to hold Faye down.
Storyteller, can I make a roll to figure out what I should do to get this out of Faye?
Of course, you can take the hit, and as you tabulate things mentally.
Well, I mean, like, I want to dodge first.
All right, go ahead and roll that dexterity and athletics. Although, if you're trying to do two things at once, just take away one dot, and then roll your intelligence plus occult.
I think what I would do is, like, I would do the dodge first, and then, like, after dodge, be, like, a different action.
Okay, go ahead and roll dexterity and athletics. Lucia, would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your dexterity and brawl as you attempt to gingerly body tackle Faye to the ground and keep her from accosting Melinda?
I think I'm more trying to like bear hug her from behind to keep her from punching anymore.
Okay. Mostly instead of striking gingerly, you attempt to wrestle, so go ahead and make that a strength plus brawl -1.
That ends up being the exact same dice pool, unfortunately.
And while all this is going on, I'll lean over to Hestia and say, "You know I had to do that, right? She knew it was coming."
Tessia just kind of smiles. I don't blame you, not one bit. And I appreciate you.
So several things happen at once as they do in such tight quarters. Lucio slipping underneath the blow and trying to keep Faye from being able to attack anyone else. And Melinda shows that Chicago isn't the only place where physical costing is potentially daily hobby and activity. Dancing away with far more skill than you'd expect from such a learned and academic person. Watching as Faye's wild haymaker designed to floor even Brock Lesnar clips across Lucio's brow as he takes the hit, wrapping his arms around her, keeping her arms pinned to her side. Knowing that Faye doesn't have as much actual physical experience when fighting, but not accounting for the sheer ferocity of the thing that exists within her chest. Now, tactically, holding Faye off the ground, not giving her leverage or the opportunity to strike anyone else is a great idea. As Hestia congratulates Dizzy, the troubling thought settles in. The thought that had already been percolating when watching Faye in operation. Lucio is standing with his back to the first two bedrooms where she left Arsenio. His arms and his body and his mind are focused on keeping Faye from attacking anyone else, which gives Melinda, Dizzy, and Hestia the opportunity to watch as a shirtless, sockless, headless Arsenio rises, his eyes glowing literally with black fire.
Wait a minute, where's this happening?
Just over Lucio's shoulder.
Like the real Arsenio is headless?
Pantless, shirtless.
Oh, I thought you said headless. Pantless is different.
Arsenio, go back to bed.
Hey, Mama. I don't think that's in the cards today.
Do not come here, Mom, or I will rip your head off.
Oh, you definitely could be my mommy.
Is he always like this after sex?
Melinda looks at Dizzy and Hestia and says, "Ladies, I'm going to need you to physically restrain me before I rip his head. Gut me your reaction, must I?"
Melinda, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve and blood sorcery? As the terminology is grating on the teeth, the voice behind it, the energy behind it is another matter entirely. Lucio, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus insight at hearing the voice?
So you said wits and blood sorcery?
Resolve and blood sorcery.
Resolve and blood sorcery.
Lucia, you were the only person to speak with Eddie that night while he was still alive.
No. No, don't tell me. Say it ain't so.
Oh yeah, it is very much so. And as Melinda, you are preparing to eviscerate that person behind Lucio, you realize why. That seeking spell you had sent out just last night has homed in on the source of all of those energy deposits. All of those deposits spread across the city have the same signature as half of the being that's behind Lucio right now.
Eddie?
Oh, mama.
What?
Well, looks like my new playmate just turned into fucking Eddie. Eddie possessed Arsenio.
Lucio turns to Hestia when she says playmate and says, "What?"
I thought you were going to say Eddie Munster, and I moved to put myself between Melinda and Arsenio at that point.
Let's be clear.
And he
First of all.
helicopters. And he helicopters as you begin talking. Come on now, don't be all like that. You guys, we could have so much more fun.
If I was your mommy, would not speak to me with disrespect.
Oh, you want to be called the cougar instead? And his slimy hand.
You definitely do not speak to me. Such disrespect.
And his
Know
slimy
your place.
hand rests against Lucio's shoulder, massaging. Now, there's a lot of things that I can do behind you like this. As he massages your shoulders. I believe there was a conversation you wanted to run out on. It's so tense. Manly.
Greatly. Your mommy never teach you accent.
Oh, my mommy told me a lot of things. Especially with the drivers that would come through every other day. And the back door opens. And as Faye thrashes and screams in Lucio's arms, Linda realizes or remembers what Arsenio told her when she was there previously. Oh yeah. Well, not Arsenio, it was Stella. It was Faye who informed that Stella and several of her friends were in the back studio doing hot yoga. So as the back door opens, and Lucio's able to see past everyone, feeling Arsenio's strength, but with Eddie's sliminess. Eddie's penchant to disrespect the very air he breathed inside Arsenio. That battle that exists within Lucio is magnified nearly exponentially. Stepping through the back doors as if they were the reinvention of the Foot Clan by way of every B-movie BDSM club, dressed in leathers. They were a wish version of Celine from Underworld. There's Stella, with her hair pulled into a severe ponytail. And 5 others, dressed similarly, with a dark hint of aggression twinkling in their eyes. Hey, bro.
Lucy, what do you want me to do? I don't want to hurt any of your people.
Get Eddie off of me.
Oh, don't be like that, pal. Come on, it could be a lot worse. And he steps just close enough that his chest brush against your shoulder as Faye kicks and screams and twists and contorts and seeks escape. There's a reptilian ick about it, because it's clearly not an accident, and the insinuation is more than obvious. Continues in his very Eddie-like, "Oh, Daddy, you know the fun we have."
Dizzy sticks her arm in between the two of him and pushes him back a little. I mean, gently, kind of, levers him back off of Lucy.
Oh, and like that. That's more than enough to go around. This guy's packing in more ways than one. He weighs like 3 times what I did. And I'm sure I could put it to good use. Seems strong and active. And he licks his lips as he takes in Dizzy for the first time. Literally, Dizzy can feel his eyes crawling over her as if they were slugs, as he starts at the top of her head, making his way all the way down to her feet and back up.
Dude, don't even start. You would have to take a number of correspondence courses to even begin to understand what I could do to you.
So, it is a very precarious situation, to say the least. There is a clear consternation weighing Lucio down. As strong as he is, Faye is tossing his body back. Not because there's additional musculature that she's developed over the last few moments, but because there's a very real want to not damage or harm her, even as she is not completely herself. Part of her is awake inside of her body, and you all know this because as she kicks and screams and thrashes, the tears that run down her face are the sort that one has when waking from a nightmare. So in this case, she is awake. She just can't escape it. That same similar sadness is just beneath the twinkling mirth of Eddie and the other entity that is inhabiting Arsenio. That other entity feeding into the very real sexual deviance that Eddie enjoyed. And then there's Stella, dressed for and having had time to plot and plan. The being that is inhabiting her, replicating itself through various means and others. Those of you all who have the understanding of the occult realize what has happened. That whole has had time to spew forth its reserves into the world. And those reserves have been taking hold of the beings that have been here. First, initially, subtly, quietly, feeding into their own individual vices, until there was enough of their spirit stuff inside bodies to take control. And they are acting as defense mechanisms, white blood cells, for the ritual that had been partially begun to seal it.
Belle? What's going on?
Oh, bro. Or should I say step bro? I think I'm stuck in the sink. Wanna give me a hand?
Bring your friends.
Oh, I'm not sure if you've seen the movie yet. These are the TV repairman, the plumber, carpenter, the bus driver, the naughty professor. Teehee.
Rachel, I know you said that Sylvia was our way of closing the tear, but would me and Melinda be able to figure out at least something to stop her the tear? Not close it, but like stop her to keep anything else from getting in?
Yeah, and I would like to figure out how I can like see if I can figure out how I can like help these people like to like take these spirits out and put them back where they belong.
If you all were able to obtain 4 rounds, your difficulty down to a total combined 8 to either or free the possessed or plug the hole. There's no way, unfortunately, for the both of you to do both. Your combined efforts might be able to win the day on one or the other. And it would be a concerted effort. You all would need time and someone to run interference or someone's interference while you quickly examine what Sylvia brought, quickly put your head together with all of the teachings that you've had thus far, and begin a ritual that could do one or the other. Temporarily plug the hole or free the possessed.
Let's look at the hole.
That only works temporarily. You just said temporarily plug the hole. If we were to free the possessed, they would stay freed?
If we can plug the hole for now, that solves a larger problem. More getting out now, and then we can free them and figure out a way to fix the hole at a hopefully later time.
You know, I don't know what the hell either one of you are talking about, but I personally say fuck the hole. At least 3 of these people are real important to Lucio. We can burn down the fucking building and that'll fix the goddamn hole.
Alright then. What kind of roll would I need to make, storyteller?
What are you guys doing?
We are going to figure out how to save these folks.
All right. That being the case, you and Hestio would need to combine your years of learning and pretty much jury rig a temporary board of sorts to banish the spirits that are inside of the. But you need the people in the same place, the same area. You need them to be there long enough so that you will focus, summon your energies, and get them out. It won't stop them from being repossessed if it comes to that, but it would definitely free them in the moment. How are you all deciding to go about that? Sheer force, or are you going to try to cut them away? Scalpel-like.
Well, Dizzy will ask what she needs to do, what needs to be done.
Hey, anybody want to go, I'm really interested in this hot yoga. What do you say, Hestia?
Misty looks at Dizzy. I know you're good at catching everybody's attention. We need them to stand still all in one spot. You think you can manage that one?
Like, how much still do you need them to be?
Like, not trying to run away all in one spot.
Like, look at me and my friends are awesome, you should let us into the club still, or you should all bow down and worship me still?
The first one.
Alright, let's start with that.
Alright, so go ahead and roll charisma plus presence. And Hestia and Melinda, I'm just going to go with sheer bombastic attack. Would you all be so kind as to go ahead and resolve plus blood sorcery. Your target number is 8 combined.
I'm so pretty.
You are very, very much engaging.
Just out of curiosity, what would it have been if we were taking a more scalpel-like approach?
That's another matter for another day. Time is running out. These become more possessed by the second. So you guys had decided to go force because there wasn't a decision made.
Melinda, what Melinda was like trying to hint at is, hey everyone, let's go back to that room you were just in doing the hot yoga. Get everyone in there, and then we put there.
That would have been a great plan. However, you guys had them all held up. And
that's why Melinda was asking about, like, hey, why don't you guys come show me that hot yoga? Do you want to go see some hot yoga?
And there's nothing like, time being of the essence. All right, so Melinda, let me get your roll.
I'm gonna burn a willpower and re-roll 3 dice. And it's still 2. Nothing changes.
All right, so that's 6. Because of the overwhelming success of Dizzy to infatuate and attract their attention, because of the time spinning out before us all, as worlds pass by and very real energies put forth, very care and adoration of these. So, their influences on your lives, at least as far as Hestia and Lucio, because they have been around and been associative and shared in their light. There's a outpouring of real, honest emotion, real honest connection. Even for someone who naturally isolated and dizzy, these are people who have been in and around their existence. Welcome them in simply by them seeming to be a person who needed someone else. These are people who have been willing to not only ideologically, but physically, emotionally put themselves on the line for others. These are people you've seen their goodness in action, even misguided, though most of it has been in regards to Stella and Faye. There is goodness in almost everyone. Their amount of goodness deserves a second chance. And as the energies well up and Lucio's eyes fill with vitae-tinged tears at the idea of loss, the very real balance of watching and hearing such profane ideas exit from their lips and their touch and the twisting of things of immense value. There is the quietest explosion I've ever been in. The outpouring of sheer energy. The channeling the last dregs of energy from tear in this world, from Sylvia's death, from Eddie's death, shunting forth into the condo, washing over those present. And just like watching as the whitest of shirts gets dirty and is washed and there's not enough bleach in the world to ever return it to its sparkling whiteness, some of them not forget this moment. Though Stella and Faye and Arsenio falls against the others, they fall dead. They fall completely, totally dead. Their lights, their lives haven't been burned out by the beings inhabited. And the very real fact that a similar thing could have befallen Arsenio, a similar thing could have befallen Faye, and a similar could have befallen Stella. Lets the weight of what exists in the condo hang heavily upon everyone else's shoulders. There is a world of things that seek access into this place. And there's an open doorway in the bathroom of this condo. With those thoughts and ideas weighing on our coder, as the night wanes on, as it always does, time being the thief of not only always and forever, but of this moment. I want to thank you all for a lovely session. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Congrats,
Night.
Dizzy, on getting her second kill, revenge kill.
You don't fuck with my peeps, yo. Night, everyone.
Night.